Good evening and welcome to the Bison Information Network. I'm Nick Whistler.
And I'm Logan Genneberg. We have all the latest local and campus news for you, so don't go away. The Gold Star Marching Band had the chance to show off their skills over the weekend.
Reporter Coy Hartle was able to stop by and see what the band has been working on this season.
While the Gold Star Marching Band is a staple of every home football game at NDSU, their performances aren't only confined to game day. Over the weekend, the band held its annual Sounds of the Gridiron Concert at the Fargo Dome.
Sounds of the Gridiron Concert is the marching band showcase. We go through all of our shows that we've done in the season, a bunch of our pep band tunes, and it's just a big showcase of not only our band, but like a recognition of our seniors, our staff, and just all the work that we put in.
Kenzie is one of 4 students that were selected as a drum major for this year.
Typically we're in charge of different things depending on the game or depending on where we're at. We have rotations, and we're doing all the fun stuff in the back. We have mace routines, we run down the field, the back bend. It's a lot of fun, and you know, I love doing it.
In addition to the performance, a silent auction was held during the event with prizes including gift baskets and signed memorabilia from the band.
All the proceeds go towards the band. That'll go to things like the apples we get at halftime. It goes towards travel costs, uniforms, uniform repairs, anything that the band might need.
If you're interested in seeing the marching band in action, they will be at the Fargo Dome on Saturday as the Bison take on UND for the final regular season game for the NDSU.
I've met all of my closest friends here, and it's just such a wonderful environment. And I think going through all 4 of my years so far, it's like I wouldn't have traded it for the world.
From Bison Information Network, I'm Coy Hartle.
Longtime librarian here at NDSU, Michael Miller has announced he will be retiring after 55 years of service. Throughout his time here, Michael developed the Germans from Russian Heritage Collection, which has become one of the most complete archives of German-Russian resources in the world. Nearly 40% of North Dakota's population is of German from Russian descent, and the collection's goal is to share and preserve the history of Germans from Russia here in North Dakota.
Are you already in the mood for some turkey but can't wait another week? NDSU Dining has you covered with their annual Thanksgiving dinner. With the menu consisting of Thanksgiving classics such as roast turkey, candied yams, mashed potatoes, gravy, stuffing, green beans, cranberry sauce, and an assortment of pies, this will be a Thanksgiving dinner you will want to bring your whole family to. But what if you don't have a meal plan? Don't worry, as the meal only costs $11 per person, with special rates of $5 for children ages 4 to 10 and free for those 4 and under.
The annual Fall Crawl will be back at the Wellness Center this Saturday, November 19th. Take the chance to show off your rock climbing skills in a competitive format as the top 5 finishers in each division will compete for the finals. Divisions are skill-based and price of participation ranges from $30 to $45 depending on membership status.
With finals week fast approaching, what better way to de-stress with a camper's favorite in floaty night? You can enjoy a relaxing night floating around in one of many giant floaties consisting of unicorns, donuts, and the classic rubber duck. This event is 100% free and only held twice a semester, so hurry on down to the Wellness Center this Friday at 8 p.m. to get in on all the floaty fun.
A University of Virginia student is in custody and being charged with 3 counts of second-degree murder. Christopher Darnell Jones, who was a former football player for the school, shot and killed 3 current UVA football players on a bus coming back from a Washington, D.C. field trip. University president identified the victims as Deshaun Perry, Devin Chandler, and Lavelle Davis Jr. 2 wounded students were also transported to local hospitals, with 1 in critical condition. UVA has canceled its upcoming football game against Coastal Carolina that was scheduled for this Saturday.
A massive turbine made its way through North Dakota this Wednesday. The 1 million pound load cut through Watford City around 3 p.m. on its trek from Buffalo, South Dakota to Saskatchewan. Chances are you may have had to take a detour as local law enforcement temporarily shut down highways 85 and 23 to help ensure a smooth and unclogged route for the heavy load. The Watford City Police Department has said that they have seen a lot of oversized loads but nothing like this superload that needed nearly 40 axles to transport it. Those traveling home over the weekend will not have to worry, as chances are the load has already made its way into Canada today, weather permitting.
The state of Minnesota saw an increase in job growth this past October as 17,000 new employees were hired. While the state's unemployment rate sits at 2.1%, Minnesota outpaced the rest of the country in job growth by half a percentage point last month.
This week might be full of reunited videos on social media as 70 North Dakota National Guard soldiers are returning back home to the state. After a year-long mission at the southern U.S. border, members of the Bismarck-based 957th Engineer Company arrived in Bismarck this Tuesday. Their duties included helping Customs and Border Protection, and 2 soldiers were even recognized for their role in rescuing drowning migrants back in March. A formal welcome home ceremony is slated to occur in January to welcome back some of Bismarck's finest. That wraps up our week in NDSU and local news. Coming up, Rico Aladdin talked to Fargo Mayor Dr. Timothy Mahoney about his background and his early professional life. We'll also have a guest in the studio with Malik Mitchell, so be sure to stick around.
No kid deserves to go hungry, but try as they might, not every family can afford to put food on the table every day. That's why the Great Plains Food Bank and their partner agencies work every day to bring food to our hungry neighbors. Every dollar donated can provide 4 meals for those in need. Go to greatplainsfoodbank.org and donate today, so no kid in North Dakota ever has to go hungry.
My name is Becky Parker, and I'm a news anchor at WDAY-TV. I graduated from NDSU in 2010 with a degree in journalism, broadcasting, and mass communication technologies, and then I had an emphasis on broadcasting. Principles of broadcast production and advanced broadcast production. Those were favorites because they were the most relevant for career experience. You're calling people for interviews, you're writing an article. It doesn't just feel like an assignment, it's like actually doing it. I was the news director for the first full semester of the Bison Information Network. The BIN advisor here was very much invested in me to actually have a career in broadcasting. He helped me get my internship and my first job. The people in NDSU's Department of Communication are really interested and helpful in getting students the connections that they need in order to get a job beyond school.
The NDSU Bookstore, where every true fan and alum goes to get their pride on. Gear up with a variety of high-quality t-shirts, sweatshirts, hats, and more. Made by top-of-the-line brands like Under Armour, Nike, and CI Sport to help you show off your Bison pride. The NDSU Bookstore has everything you need in your 2 favorite colors, green and gold.
So I come from a small town, Devils Lake, North Dakota, where I was born and raised, and went through my professional training. I went to University of Notre Dame, and then went to UND Medical School, went on to Tufts Medical School, and then finished my residency training in Minneapolis at Hennepin County. Became a physician surgeon in '75, and I've been practicing surgery for 46 years.
Wow, wonderful. So you are a surgeon, and right now, so whenever I think about it, I usually talk about the professional life first. You know, as a doctor, tell me a little bit about your background. How did you decide on your major in school? Because that's why we have the show here, so that students can learn from experience of accomplished professionals such as yourself.
So when I was in college, as I went through my college years, every summer I would take a different job.
Wow.
And I tease my kids, but I did 22 different jobs in my college career, different jobs and different things. I was in a survey crew, worked in the post office, worked construction, drove a cement truck, did a variety of different things, worked in maintenance for a hotel, different jobs and different ideas. And my dad was a family practice doctor in the community, so I considered that. But one of the things that struck me, and this will be hard for you to believe,
Okay.
but I was paid $2.10 an hour when I worked construction.
Wow.
And I turned to a guy who'd been there 20 years, and I asked him how much he was making, and he was making $2.90. And I said, you know, I'm not sure I'd like to work 20 years and be making less than $3 an hour. And he was raising 6 kids. So you just begin to think about, okay, if I go into different career paths, what kind of income might I get and what can I expect for my family and myself? I liked medicine because I felt it was you can have an intimate discussion with somebody, relationship with them. You can take their appendix out, very uncomfortable for them. They feel better when they're done. And it's a unique relationship, but it's an end goal. Come into something wrong, I fix it, you get better, and you go on with your life. And I liked that more. That was appealing to me. So when I was in my college years, I went into pre-professional and decided to elect to become a doctor. And knew kind of from my father's background what that was like, but elected not to do family practice. I liked the surgical part because I thought I could fix something and get you better. And then something to do with your hands that's very tactile. And so I've enjoyed that. It turned out to exactly what I wanted to be. I would say to many young people, yeah, find out what you want, because I have other people that have gone through medicine and not been happy when they got done. So whatever it is that you really like, I think you should pursue.
There are so many great things to experience at NDSU. It's hard to pick one, but my favorite is
the people. They make it such a warm place. The Bison aren't just across the country, they're across the globe.
It's the perfect distance from home. The faculty are our biggest cheerleaders. Hands-on research experience. The affordable tuition.
All the opportunities to stay active on campus.
Real-world learning experiences.
Once I got on campus, it felt like home.
My name is Addie Stewart, and I graduated from NDSU in the Department of Communication in 2018. My degree was in strategic communication, and I'm the communications specialist for the city of West Fargo. That includes social media, press releases, breaking news, interviews, media relations, and more. I went into communication because I wanted to do something I was passionate about. There were so many opportunities. I knew I could work for nonprofits, government, small business, agency work. Professors in the department definitely impacted me a lot in my life, making sure that once I graduated college, I knew I could get a job here just because of the connections in the department and the great morale that was in Fargo. Future students should definitely come to NDSU because it's a degree like no other here.
The NDSU bookstore has everything you need to show off your Bison pride. The bookstore can have you sporting green and gold wherever you go. It offers many different brands, sizes, styles, and selection so that you find exactly what you're looking for. Shop the NDSU bookstore and show your spirit today.
Welcome back. We're here with Autumn Kranz from the Spectrum. Autumn, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good. So to get into it, what is your major and what made you want to get into that field?
So I'm a management communication major with a minor in business administration, and I wanted to go into that kind of to be able to work with people and kind of develop businesses and just be able to work with employees at a business to help better the company and better their lives.
Yeah. For people who don't know what the Spectrum is, you know, kind of like the comm groups, like the Bison Information Network, what is the Spectrum in a nutshell?
Yeah, so the Spectrum is the school newspaper. So we print every Thursday, and it's a conglomerate. It's a collective of 4 different sections: news, variety, opinion, and sports. And we have students who write in to the Spectrum, and they're printed every week. So it's a great way to get published.
Yep. And then, what is your business title of the Spectrum, and how'd you get into that?
Yeah, so I'm the business manager for the Spectrum, which means that I do a lot of the accounting, payroll, HR-ish stuff. Yeah. And then I started as the advertising manager for the Spectrum, so I did a lot of advertising and sales. And then we also have a marketing position too, but I did that for a brief stint while nobody was in there. So I've kind of been around in the business section, not doing as much of the writing for the Spectrum, but more of the behind the scenes, taking care of the business side of things.
Yep, and what are some of the challenges you face as a business manager? Because that is one of the biggest roles in the Spectrum, I assume. And you know, you guys have been running since 1896. That pulls weight. So what are some of the challenges or some of the things you have to do weekly?
Yeah, so every week I have to do, or every other week, I take care of paying people their salaries and different piecework things, and then overall just managing our finances. So a challenge that we had a couple years ago was during COVID, our advertising revenue was down a lot, which impacted us significantly, but we were able to bounce back from that.
Yep, and then what are your future plans for the Spectrum? Because you guys print every week, and you guys are gaining new members. Like, you guys always have like a good amount of people in the Spectrum. What are you guys looking forward to?
Yeah, so we've been actively working to increase our online presence, further than just being a physical paper, but we also print online or publish online every week as well.
Yep. And then for people who wanted to join the Spectrum and don't know how or what they can do to like gain tools, gain experience for the Spectrum in the future, what would you tell them? What classes and stuff like that?
What classes for the Spectrum?
Or like, what classes or what they could do as far as practice or anything, videos, anything.
Just come in and start writing.
Okay.
Usually is what we tell people, where you don't have a requirement for majors or any previous experience required. That of course always helps, but we can take you however you come.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then what do you plan to do after college? Like you said, you're business manager now. Is there something you want to take with that as far as still being in journalism, or are you just for the experience, or what do you plan to do with that?
Yeah, so I never really saw myself being in a journalism field.
Mm-hmm.
More of the business and managing side of industries. So in the future, I hope to maybe work in management consulting or working. I love what I'm doing now at the Spectrum, so doing something like this for a small company would be awesome too, but still something I'm working on figuring out.
Yeah.
But there's quite a few options, and this experience has definitely helped me open some doors and get a lot of experience in different aspects of business.
All right, Adam, thank you for your time. When we come back, I'll give you guys a Bison Sports Report after the break. Don't go away.
My name is Becky Parker, and I'm a news anchor at WDAY-TV. I graduated from NDSU in 2010 with a degree in journalism, broadcasting, and mass communication technologies, and then I had an emphasis on broadcasting. Principles of broadcast production and advanced broadcast production. Those were favorites because they were the most relevant for career experience. You're calling people for interviews, you're writing an article. It doesn't just feel like an assignment, it's like actually doing it. I was the news director for the first full semester of the Bison Information Network. The BIN advisor here was very much invested in me to actually have a career in broadcasting. He helped me get my internship and my first job. The people in NDSU's Department of Communication are really interested and helpful in getting students the connections that they need in order to get a job beyond school.
No kid deserves to go hungry. But try as they might, not every family can afford to put food on the table every day. That's why the Great Plains Food Bank and their partner agencies work every day to bring food to our hungry neighbors. Every dollar donated can provide 4 meals for those in need. Go to greatplainsfoodbank.org and donate today, so no kid in North Dakota ever has to go hungry.
Bison football are coming off their 4th consecutive road win against Southern Illinois, 21-18. Currently 6-1 in the conference, the Bison will return home for their final regular season game on Saturday against UND at 2:30 p.m. for the Harvest Bowl. Moving on to Bison basketball, last Thursday, the men suffered a tough road loss against Kansas University. In the first half, the Bison only accounted for just 19 points to the Jayhawks' 48. In the second half, the Bison found some momentum, scoring 40 points. However, it was not enough as they would fall 82-59. Grant Nelson led the Bison with 11 points, 9 rebounds, and 2 blocks. They returned home on Sunday, unfortunately taking another loss, this time against the University of Pacific. The Tigers led 45-29 at the half. Trying to fight back, the Bison managed to outscore the Tigers by 11 points in the second, cutting an 18-point deficit to 3 points on 4 different occasions. In the end, it still wasn't enough as they would fall 91-86. Freshman Sam Hastreiter led the Bison, scoring 24 points, shooting 7 for 7 from the 3-point range. Currently 0-3 overall, the Bison tipped off against Indiana State today at 6 p.m. in Terre Haute, Indiana. For the women's, they would have better luck with the help of the Shield Center. On Monday night, they hosted Valley City State, outscoring them by more than 50 points. The Bison jumped out to a big lead, scoring 62 points in the first half, holding Valley City to just 20 points. With that lead, they would end up taking the win 96-45. Senior Heaven Hamling had the game high with 21 points, 4 assists, 4 steals, and 5 rebounds. Currently 2-0 overall, they will continue to host, tipping off against the University of Minnesota tonight at 7 p.m. Moving on to wrestling, they hosted the Bison Open this previous Saturday at the Shield Center. Redshirt freshmen Micah Caliendo and Juan Mora picked up their first Bison Open titles. They'll be back in action tomorrow, taking on Binghamton at 7 p.m. in a dual meet at the Shield Center. And lastly, the volleyball team hosted a set of games last week on Thursday and Saturday. Starting with Thursday, they got over the hump against Omaha 3-2, avenging the loss they received from the Mavericks several weeks back. Playing until 5 sets, the teams went back and forth, with the Bison taking the first, third, and fifth set by only 4 points or less. The Bison connected on a season high of 73 kills, 5 different players reaching double digits. Kelly Johnson accounted for 50 assists or more for the 6th time this season, with a match high of 57 with 13 digs. On Saturday, they were made home, battling again to 5 sets against Denver, this time falling short 3-2. After dropping the first 2 sets, the Bison battled back to the 5th set again, ultimately falling short by 6 points. Sauer Tanti collected her 10th double-double of the season with a match high of 19 kills and 14 digs. The Bison are now 12-4 in the conference. They are currently on the road in Vermillion, South Dakota, taking on USD tonight at 7 p.m. On Saturday, they'll take on SDSU in Brookings, South Dakota at 1 p.m. Well, that'll do it for sports. Now let's go over to Coy with your weather. Coy, how's the weather looking at today?
Well, we did have a lot of snow going on recently. However, going into this next week, we won't have as much as usual. Taking a look at the current conditions right now, we are seeing this coming to us from just a couple hours ago at the I-29, I-94 interchange, and then looking at the numbers coming to us from the Hector International Airport. Currently, we do have some ice fog going on. Temperature is sitting at 20 degrees. Wind chill drops that down to 5 degrees Fahrenheit. And then we do have winds out of the northwest at 17 miles per hour with gusts up to nearly 30 degrees at 28. Looking at the hour by hour for the rest of the night, as you can see, as the night goes on, temperatures will continue to drop into the teens, and then even into early tomorrow morning, we will get down to the single digits, which will carry into early tomorrow morning. However, temperatures will warm up as the day goes on there. Looking at the skycast this morning, the sun rose in Fargo at 7:33 a.m. Sunset at 4:50 gave us about 9 hours and 17 minutes of daylight there. And then looking at the moon phases, currently we are in the waning crescent phase, and we will have a new moon coming up within this next week. Looking at what's going on across the country, as you can see, we are seeing much colder temperatures than what we've been seeing in the last couple of weeks. Going into the North Dakota, Montana area here, we are seeing temperatures in the teens and down to the single digits as well. And of course, once you get down to the Texas and Florida area, we are still seeing temperatures there in the 50s and 60s, and even some of the 70s down in the panhandle of Florida. Looking at the rain and snow forecast for the next 48 hours, not a whole lot of notable rain, a little bit in the Louisiana, Texas area, and then for the snow, we do have some in the Colorado, Wyoming area up there, and then once you get across the Red River in the Fargo, Minnesota border, we will see a little bit of flurries going on into Minnesota, but a little bit in Fargo, but I'll get into that a little bit later. Looking into the weekend as we look towards the next 3 days, tomorrow we do have a chance of some flurries that could accumulate up to about an inch or two, but not a whole lot to worry about there. As the weekend goes on, temperatures will start to pick up. We do have a high of 27 degrees with a low of 12 on Sunday, and we will be seeing some sun throughout much of the weekend as well. Looking into the rest of the week, on Monday and Tuesday, both pretty similar temperatures. We are seeing highs in the mid-20s for both of those days, with lows right around 10 degrees. And then on Wednesday, temperatures will pick up to about 30 with a high. And then Thursday will pick up even more on Thanksgiving Day with a high of 35 and a low of 19 degrees. With all the snow and ice we've been seeing this past week, as well as coming into this next week, We're just starting to settle down into this winter season, so we do have a little bit of a PSA for you guys. Put together a list of a few things that you should have with you in your car during the winter time just to be safe. Full tank of gas is always nice in case you do get stranded anywhere. Ice scraper just to help out with the windshields, and then jumper cables, of course, if you need to help yourself or help someone else on the side of the road. And then gloves, snow gear, blanket just to stay warm. And then a phone charger is always good too, just to make sure you do have your cell phone handy in case you do need to call for help. Before we go, I do have one more thing to share with you guys. This is a photo I was able to capture last week on Thursday and Friday as that ice storm was coming through the Fargo area. I just saw some of the ice that was captured on one of the trees there, and I just thought that was a pretty neat picture, so I figured I would share that with you guys. If any of you watching at home see any interesting weather in your area, then be sure to send it our way. You can submit your photos or videos online at www.ndsubin.com/news. Well, that's all we got for weather for this week. Back to you at the desk, Malik.
So, Chloe, we can continue to see some cold temperatures at that this week.
Yep. As the week starts, we will see some colder temperatures. However, as we get towards the end of the week, into that Thanksgiving holiday, that's when temperatures will start to pick up. So it will be good for travel and for the holidays.
All right. Well, that's all we have for this newscast. We won't have a newscast next week due to the holiday weekend, but we'll still have a special video for you guys. So be sure to follow us on our social media to keep up to date. Thank you for watching and have a great night.